Hey everyone, I'm Phil Corey from Corey Web, and in this video, we're going to talk about Facebook ads. So everybody knows what Facebook ads are. We don't need to go over what they are. You may or may not even be a big fan of Facebook ads, but as marketers, and as a marketer myself, I'm a huge fan of them. And the reason for that, there's a couple of reasons for that, but I'm going to go over the three big ones. There are various reasons, but the three big ones are by far much larger than the rest of the pot of reasons. So number one, targeting. The most precise level of targeting I have ever seen in an ad platform. And the reason for that is super simple. Facebook knows everything about you. NSA level targeting. And you know, it's an incredibly tight advertising platform where you can get super specific about who you want your ad to be in front of. We're not talking about just age, gender, we're not talking about basic demographics where you can find out where somebody is located. That stuff's very Google AdWords oriented. We're talking about search behavior, purchasing behavior, whether or not they have a credit card tied to their account and they've made recent purchases for products similar to yours. We're talking about very tight information on on who these people are. And using that to target just kind of blows my mind because people are still spending money in other targeting platforms. It's insane. This is by far one of the biggest moves I've seen in any platform's history to create top-notch, best-in-class marketing channel where you just absolutely cannot beat it. So that's number one. If that's not good enough for you, then the other two aren't probably not even worth listening to, because that one right there in and of itself is enough to just open up the wallet, spend some money, and make some ads happen. So at least for me. But more importantly then, if that's not good enough, the second one is the money itself. The money being spent on Facebook ads, rough estimate, is about 80% cheaper than spending the same amount for ROI that's even lower on Google ads. So, and Google ads is by far the largest platform still online. Google makes gobs of cash selling pretty mediocre advertising. So, people are spending gobs of cash on it. So it's kind of ridiculous. Like I said, rough metrics, it's probably going to cost you about 80% on the dollar cheaper than running a Google ad to run a Facebook ad. So that's a big thing. There are a lot of different channels out there that don't work, that people spend a lot of money on. And I think this is a very very inexpensive, because it's high value. Inexpensive, but high value advertising platform. So I highly recommend you give this a shot. Number three is kind of important too, because let's say that number one and number two are just don't work. Your targeting is crap. You absolutely failed to target the right people. Maybe you went way too wide and you just didn't get any good usable sales out of that, or anyone really coming through your funnel. And you spent a ton of money on it maybe. Maybe you just, for your business, you spent, maybe $1,000 is a lot, maybe $10,000, maybe $100,000 is a lot for your business. It really doesn't matter. You spent a lot of money and you didn't get the results you were looking for. Number three on this list is your trial and error. Because trial and error in a lot of platforms don't give you any valuable data. Go put up a billboard and tell me, if it doesn't work, how you can make it better. Because in reality, it's very difficult to say, well, you know what, that billboard would have worked 100% better on this highway. You just don't know. The trial and error data collection is either you've spent a ton of money and you've gotten absolutely nothing out of it, or in Facebook's account, you've spent a ton of money and you can see the trends. You can see the 18 to 25-year-old males who are interested in this product, who live in this area, this region, And you can drill down on, okay, what separates them? What search behaviors separate those individuals from everybody else in our target segment? And you're talking about an incredible amount of data crunching that can happen very quickly and provide just a ridiculous amount of insight, because that's really what this is all about. It's insight into your product, who's using your product, and who's interested in that product. Now you can take the data, rework your ads, and start going back through that process of creating new advertising targeted more specifically to the people who are looking to buy. That's huge. You can't even get that in Google Ads. And that's probably the next best competitor, and it's not even on the same level. It's not even on the same playing field. So that's a big deal. And this is something I get super excited about just because I see incredible amounts of value. I see a ton of value just being left on the table. It's just tons of money, just nobody is willing to go over and pick it up. And so, that's one of the big things we're focusing on here, especially at Corey Webb. That's a big thing that we focus on, because you can write great content, you can do all kinds of great, amazing marketing, but one massive part of marketing is advertising. And if your advertising stinks, your marketing is not going to do that well long term, because you're not even able to properly target your markets. You don't even probably know what the markets are. So advertising plays a big role in marketing as a larger umbrella, and you need to be advertising. If you're one of those companies who you're very low to the ground, bootstrapping it, and you're just like, we don't have the money to spend on advertising, you're totally missing the boat. You do not have the money to spend on advertising. There is so much more data that can come out of good advertising, great data collection that you can use to redeploy your products even better, redeploy your marketing even better than you had before. So that's a huge, huge piece of it, and you need to be looking at it. I'm Phil Corey from Corey Webb. Thanks for watching.